Good to see you, Hank. Good to see you. What's going on, Hammer?
You too, Rich. It's good to see Koepka just put one within 3 feet on the first hole.
There we go.
Since I have him at 9-1.
Is that really?
Yeah, you do.
9-1. That obviously ought to be pre-tournament, right, Hank?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else you got on this championship? Anything, or that's your only ticket?
I played Patrick, however you say his name, but he's
Cantlay?
1 under.
You got Cantlay.
He finished his second round.
Okay, very good. All right, Hank, let's get to it right here. Before we get to the Preakness, what did you think of that finish? Do you think that was a rightful DQ of maximum security?
I did, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that he had to come down. I was on the air at the time, and I said before Bill Mott said it, that if this was the third race at your favorite local racetrack, he would have come down within 5 minutes. I think that the decision that I don't agree with was suspending Saez for 15 days. I think he did whatever he could to avoid an accident and did a good job of restoring that horse so that there was no accident. And he actually should be praised for avoiding any further trouble in the race. And he's going to appeal that. I hope he wins that. Those stewards, I agree with what they did, although I don't know why they had to be a claim of foul. They should have put it in as a problem before that. And then why it took them 40 minutes to make a decision.
Yeah, right.
I didn't understand that either.
Well, what do you think of the idea of a lawsuit by Maximum Security, the owners of Maximum Security, Hank?
I wouldn't bet on them. I mean, how many times can they disqualify this horse?
Right.
There's no chance of that.
Right.
Being approved.
Now, I wonder what is the etiquette of handicapping here, Hank? Do you go up to Bill Mott and say to him, how come you didn't, whisper in my ear about, the long shot to win Country House? Why didn't you whisper about that? Do you do that sort
I
of
don't
thing?
think he expected to win the race with that horse.
Isn't that amazing?
He really liked, his other horse who he had really trained up to that race. And, the race was a fluke. It was ridden, it was run in terrible conditions. There was a lot of bumping around going on because of the track being so gooey, and the horses were hitting each other through the whole race. And his horse, in fact, the one that he liked, got knocked around plenty, and he ran a big race, considering all the difficulty he had. And I think the Belmont will be interesting.
Okay, well, let's get to the Preakness right here. Hank the Hammer Goldberg on the Rich Eisen Show. Is this a large amount of horses for the Preakness? It seems like so, but you would obviously know better. Okay.
Yeah, usually a lot of horsemen pass on the Preakness coming out of the Derby, which happened again. But because the field is not supposed to be as tough this year, a lot of horses entered, and there's 13 horses in. Horses. But this was an odd year in that there were a few horses who, with a break or two, could have been in a Kentucky Derby, but didn't have enough points. And some of them are in this race, and one of them I like a lot.
Okay.
I mean, a lot.
All right. I like it. All right, Hank, let's get into it. Who do you like a lot in this Preakness?
I like Bourbon War. I talked to his trainer, Mark Hennig, yesterday. Mark and I are good friends, and I called him. He got right back to me. This is a horse that ran in the Fountain of Youth, and he was second. And he's a closer, and he was running on a speed-favoring track, and he ran fourth in the Florida Derby. And he was just beaten out of the third spot by Code of Honor, who ran a big race in the Kentucky Derby, and hit the board. But and if this horse had gotten a little bit of a better started his move a little earlier, he would have beaten Code of Honor on a speed favoring track. And, of course, Maximum Security won that race as lone speed. And he should like the extra distance in this race. And talking with Mark, he's told me that he's making a little slight equipment adjustment, with what they call short-term blinkers, so that the horse will make his move a little earlier. He's got Way of Will, and Warrior's Charge on either side of him, both of whom are going to go for the lead early, which will create a lot of room for Bourbon War,
Mm-hmm.
And he should get a real smooth trip, and ideal trip from the 2-post.
Okay.
And this horse, he's training great right now, and he's as good as any of the horses that ran in the Derby, based on his performance on speed-favoring tracks in Florida. And he should get the best of it because there's a lot of speed in this race.
Well, I like
it sets up for him.
I like the odds at 12-1 right now, as you and I are talking.
Yeah, he won't be 12-1. That was ridiculous.
Okay.
That guy made a bad line. And when you get a bad line in football, you go for it. And this was a bad line. And he should be 5 or 6-1. And, the trainer agrees with me. There's no way. I think he's going to get bet.
Okay.
I don't think he'll be 12-1 at post time. But I like him so much. I never bet horses to win. I'm betting this horse to win.
All right. That is a very high praise, quality endorsement from the Hammer. All right, then how else do we fill out a ticket? Exactas, trifectas, supers.
Well,
help me out here. Give me a signer. I want a signer, Hank. Hank, I want a signer. I want a signer today.
Yeah.
Give me a signer. That's all I want.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Yeah.
I should have given you the signer in the last race.
Oh my God!
I like that horse as post 20. Remember? But I didn't put him on. But I didn't put him on top.
Could you imagine? What's it? 50? What's that? 50 grand, right, for the Super?
Yeah.
At the Derby.
54 grand.
Gosh.
But anyway,
okay.
It's interesting. Talking with some of the trainers, the horse they think may be the one to beat is Owendale. Post 5.
Okay.
He's 10-1.
Okay.
He beat another Twist of Fate, who's 6-1 out of the 12 post, who got a bad post, and he lost to Owendale in a race that was run in Kentucky. Owendale it was the Lexington Stakes. He's had 3 starts this year, and he's won twice. And he's got the right kind of style, and he's getting good at the right time.
Okay.
I think you have to use Improbable because he's the class of the race. And although, I remember talking to Elliot Walden from WinStar about possible distance limitations for this horse. And he said that because the sire side would suggest that, and he said this horse wouldn't have distance limitations. Well, the race he ran in the Derby would indicate that he does. That he couldn't make the 1.25 miles. He was in good position, and he just didn't fire in the stretch. So I'm putting Improbable in because I think you have to use him. He's Baffert, who in all 7 Preaknesses that he won, the horses came out of the Derby.
Okay.
And then there's another horse in here called Always Mining, who's 6 for 6 this year in his last 6 races. All of them were run at one track, Laurel. He won the Tessio, and he came from a little bit off the pace. Normally he's on the lead. But I would put him in there because, and talking with a couple of trainers, in fact, talking with the trainer of Bourbon War, I asked him about other horses. He said he looked at film of Always Mining. He said, that's a good horse.
Okay, so what do you got for me here then?
Don't be scared off by the fact that he's only won at one track.
Okay.
And remember, the Tessio used to be run at Pimlico, but they only run 12 races a year now at Pimlico. So this will be his first race over that track. So I'm going to use the 2 with the 5, the 7, and the 4.
Okay,
and
so
if it comes 2-5-7, you're going to have a signer.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So your best exacta is what? 2-5, Bourbon War and Owendale?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and then your best trifecta.
And if you want to throw in one more horse,
okay,
who will give you the bomb, it's Warrior's Charge, who's never run in a stakes race, but he's 2 for 2.
Okay.
At races at Oaklawn, and he won his last by 12.5 lengths, and he's got a ton of speed.
Okay.
And he may hold on for a piece.
Okay, so your best exact is 2.5, and if you're doing a try, you have to throw in probable 2.54, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then 2.5
or 2.57.
2.57. Okay, very good. Which is always mining. Thank you, Hank. You're the best, man. I am mandated to ask you as we go out the door right here. The Tessio, is that named after the Abe Vigoda character from The Godfather, Hank?
No, that was a mistake that they made, because Tessio was the guy who ratted out. Remember Michael?
For sure.
They should have named the race the Clemenza. He was loyal.
There you go. You're right. Tessio asked Frank Hagan to be let off the hook for old time's sake. Didn't work out. Spoiler alert. You know what I'm saying?
Just one time for old time's sake.
That's right.
That's why we're going to win this race. Just one time for old time's sake.
Well done,
Let's go, Hank.
Let's go, Hank.
Come on, Hank. Come on.
We'll chat with you in a couple weeks, Hank. We'll chat soon.
Okay, Rich.
You're the man. That's the hammer, Hank Goldberg.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live, or download the Rich Eisen Show app.